Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everybody around the world. Welcome back to the One Piece video featuring your boy, Edward Newgate. Get ready for a spicy deck profile featuring OP10 here on the channel, let alone a leader in which we haven't dived into in a very long time. But, alas, he's a red deck. He can build rush. He can flood the board with bodies. Luffy, Zoros, Aces, Monkey D Dragons, and do a lot of damage very, very quickly. Newgate has a very good time in the current metagame, outside of some deck lists, and some decks can give him trouble. You know, Shanks being one of them, of course. But if you're able to constantly 2k check your opponent each and every turn, which this deck is easily able to do, your leader being a 6k body, Luffy coming on board being a 6k body, being able to attach Dawn to another character or leader, swinging in at 7. You're 2k checking your opponent each and every swing. 9 out of 10, at least with this deck list. Now, Newgate has seen many different iterations over the past. Many of them. Strawbeard, Whitebeard pirates. Today we are going to be running a variant of, I guess you would say Straw Hat, I guess. But with some added fluff, you know, with your dragons here, your divine departures, and your 5-drop Portkits the Ace. This was a newer card that came out in ST15, and which is very, very strong here for Newgate, and it's very good in the current metagame due to the fact that it has to be removed twice, which is nice. So in other words, if your opponent decides to remove this from play by any effect, you can activate its ability, and this card gains minus 2,000 power for the turn. Basically, again, you have to remove it twice to get rid of it, which is cool. Now, in any case, Newgate, if you guys are unfamiliar, if you're new around here, at the end of your turn, you can add 1 card from the top of your life area to your hand. Newgate starts the game with 6 life, which is the first of his kind. And at the end of every turn, you take 1 of your lives, you add it to your hand. So you are drawing cards off life, you're drawing cards for the turn. Your hand size gets pretty big. And with this deck, you utilize a decent amount of 2k counters, but you're really paying attention to your 1-drop radical beams, your 0-cost kick courses, your divine departures, and or your guard points, depending on, you know, your personal preference. Both of them are very, very similar. Both of them are very, very good. I chose to run divine departure just because there are a lot of cards in the game in which you can just pop with, you know, spending 6 Dawn for free, which is really nice. This has the same effect as guard point, except for guard point has the trigger, this does not, and guard point can be used on your characters and or leader, whereas divine departure can only be used on your leader. But again, 1 cost but 3,000 power, same thing as guard point. You pick and choose, right? The other downside to this cannot be searched out with your Nami 1-drop. So whereas guard point can, because it can be searched out due to Straw Hat Crew, so do be mindful of that. Other than that, your Nami is going to be able to help this deck flourish, because it's going to allow you to pick up your Zoros, your Luffys, your Sanjis. It's very, very good at what it does. And speaking of Zoro, we are going to be playing around with the brand new Zoro that came out in ST21, the 4-drop here. This is a very strong card in this list, and in the late game, you're able to get off a massive amount of swings on board. If you're able to stack off some Luffys down on top of Zoros, you can get anywhere between 3 to 4 hits per turn, which is kind of scary. And each hit, you are 2k checking your opponent, meaning your opponent has to pitch a 2k plus, or take damage, which is really, really good. The other cards we're going to be utilizing here in this list, I've been playing around with Shiraya here, and I've been playing around with Chopper. Personally, they're both really, really good. I opted to go with Shiraya just because I know Chopper is searchable, but he doesn't have the counter, right? Which is fine, because he's a 1-drop blocker, which 1-drop blockers are very good right now in the metagame, because your opponent has to spend removal to get rid of them. But Shiraya, on the other hand, he does have the 1k counter, and he's a very, very strong blocker. That's the other upside to him. If your opponent swings in, for example, if Shanks drops Dragon on board and Dragon attaches the Dawn and Shanks swings into you, you have an easy block with this plus 1k counter, which is really, really nice. So your opponent has to spend removal to get rid of this, and it's a little bit harder to remove because it's a 3 cost versus a 1 cost, but each their own. Now, speaking of Dragon, We are only going to be running 2. This is not searchable, but it is one of those late game finisher pieces. You can either opt in Dragon or you can opt in Gold D Roger. Both of them work phenomenally well. Roger, this is very strong into any matchup that's going to be utilizing a lot of blockers, of course, so like Blackbeard and all that sort of thing. I just opted to go Dragon just because it's a little bit cheaper here, and it's a rush unit that I can get on board as well in the early game. I get it. Roger is also rush, but it's a 10 cost versus an 8 cost. This gives me options to play around with Radical Beam or Divine Departure, Guard Point, depending on what you guys decide to use, or Red Hawk, for example. But that's my personal pick. Our play for most of the time with this list, I'm opting to go first just because that's kind of our curve. If we end up going second, we have the option to play around with the Zoro here and the Sanji. The Zoro allows you to, when this card is KO'd, you can drop down a Sanji from hand, you can drop down a Luffy from hand to replace this, or another Sanji 3 cost. Very, very strong card if you're able to go second. If you do go first, which is kind of optimal here, at least for me, you're going first, you're dropping your Nami Searcher. The following turn, you're playing down Sanji, you're swinging for 6, you're 2k checking your opponent. If you're able to drop Luffy on board, this in itself can swing for 6. You can attach the Dawn or leave a Dawn up for Divine Departure or Radical Beam. Or you can attach the Dawn to your Newgate, swing for 7. Your Sanji will also swing for 6. So each one of these swings are going to be 2k checking your opponent, which is really, really good. Either way, we're going to play a bunch of games today as we typically do. I do hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. Let's get at it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today. Coming at you guys with Newgate playing into Green Yellow Law OP10 here. Now, unfortunately, I have no idea how many games we're going to do today. We are playing aggro. The matches typically go quite fast, I would say. So hopefully we can get out maybe 5-7 games, if that. Maybe another hour-long video as usual here, and then we are going to dive into some Boa upcoming next, considering she was 3rd most voted within the poll, and I have been playing a lot of Boa for the past couple days, so I mean, I'm very interested in showcasing what I've cooked up or what's working for me and all that sort of thing. In any case, let's dive back into this game here real quick. Law is going to be a tricky opponent. Most of the time, he kind of just takes his own life to do his own shenanigans and stuff, which is totally fine because we have the 2-cost Sanji that we can just get around the blockers and just go face, which is kind of nice. And I don't think Law kind of expects that. Ooh, okay. Fortunately for him, he had counter for both those swings. But that's 2Ks that he doesn't have anymore, which is great. There's a Mihawk into a Zoro. Interesting. Yep. Gets the Cavendish, restands the Dawn, does the thing. Probably swings for 8k to lead here. If I had to guess, never mind. So he's got 3 cards in hand already, opposed of the book that I have, which is kind of crazy. We're on 5 Dawn here, so we're probably going to drop Luffy on board. I want to Divine Departure, but we don't have enough Dawn to kill the Cavendish right away. So instead, we can either go 6 with Newgate, play down the Luffy, or we can do the Zoro here. Luffy is clearly going to be the better play because we can attach Dawn to Newgate to swing for 7. Both of these swings will 2k check Law, which is nice. There's a 2k for Capone. And we'll get another one here, or a damage in. There we go. Already 2 life, turn 3. 4 cards in hand versus our book. We're chilling. We're chilling, guys. Ooh. That's not something I typically see when it comes to Law. Okay. You're cool. Not mad about it. That's a good play on his part. Yep. Goes 6. By the way, often not. I typically forget my leader sometimes is a 6k because I'm so used to not playing a 6k leader. It's been a long time. So sometimes I opt to throw out 2ks, you know? Get a Sanji. Yep. 6 here again. Ooh, this hand though. I guess we can give him the Sanji 3 cost, right? So I think Cavendish is probably also going to swing. But the Sanji, the 2 cost, is probably going to be pretty valuable here in this matchup, depending on what blockers he plays. So he does have access to the 5 cost Law and 8 cost Kid, which I can't get around. I have to attack into the Kid, but I can get around the Law. Okay. We're doing pretty good. Froze my Dawn. Unfortunate. That is really unfortunate because we had the ace here in hand that we could have just minus the power on Cavendish and at least killed the Cavendish and put him on 0 life probably. Let's just poke it. I'm not really in any danger, I don't think. We have the guard points. We have, not guard points, the radical beams here. We're chilling. Zoro can also get down and go for 7. Let's go into the Cavendish again. This is just the fish cards out of hand. Nice. Get a Luffy. And now he potentially has 3 swings. Or Hody Jones if he has Hody Jones. That's why I opted not to bother leaving up the Dawn. Okay. I think that's the 4th Carmel he played, so he has no more of those. He's drawn 4 extra cards, which is nice for him. Still, though, his hand is very lacking due to the fact that we keep 2k checking him each and every turn. This is totally cool. You can have that. We'll play Luffy off that. So now he's going to go 8k here, I would imagine. In which he can have this one, because we're going to lose the life anyway. 7. Okay. Oh, I forgot Bonnie hasn't swung yet. I think we have enough to get out of this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we do. Okay, we're chilling. We do have a lot of cards in here with no counter, which is unfortunate, but the ace, the double aces and the Luffy here kind of hurt us a little bit. But we're still able to take at least 1 damage here. Okay. Now we should be able to end game. So I think we have enough to double tap with Luffy. Oh wait, never mind. I can't do that, can I? Because we're at 9 Dawn. No. Yeah, we can. This is fine. We have to play him first. That way we can get the rest of Dawn. We have 4 here. We can go 7. Give the Dawn to Newgate. I'm pretty sure this is game here. We do the same thing. We go 7 here with Luffy. And then we'll finish it off with 10k to face from Newgate. And good game. Alright, we'll keep them coming, ladies and gentlemen. Rapid fire. Yes, we got a blocker. Lovely. The only blocker in the deck. And we end up drawing it in our opening hand. This is going to be really good against Yamato. Because Yami can't get over this blocker, which is kind of nice. Unless they decide to rest it and attack into it. So. Ooh. This hand, though. I guess we'll take the Rad Beam. We already have the Zoro and Sanji, so. It would have been nice to see the Luffy, but getting a little bit of a defensive cards in the early game against Yamato is pretty strong. So I think the next turn they have access to the Onami plus 7k swing. Which isn't as scary due to the fact of us being a 6k leader. Now with Shiraya on board, Yams has access to Izo potentially to rest it and swing 6, but that's really not very valuable right now. Okay, there's going to go 9 and force the block, which we have to do. I think I'd rather get rid of the Sanji, but I kind of want to keep the Sanji as well, so let's pop the Nami instead. There's the Luffy, which is really good. And that might actually be the play here. I need to go to 7 Dawn for the Zoro. Or 6 Dawn for the Zoro, sorry. We'll go here, we'll give it to Newgate. So 2k check here, as usual. And another one. 3k counter. This should put him on 3, yep. I'll pass it over. Another Luffy, which is good. We'll probably chain these back to back. Sure, that's fine. Now you can't swing. I mean, they got the damage in, but still. Okay. How do I math here? We can do Zoro for a rush. And then if they decide to pop the Zoro, we can play down the Luffy after that. Or the blocker if need be, which is the chopper. So we'll go ahead and go 7 lead. Yep. And we'll go 7 lead again. With the Newgate. Oh, can't swing, never mind. I lied. Sorry about that. I mean, now we have the Rad Beam, so we should be fine. I kind of want to protect the board a little bit. But this also could be a Hody play, and they decide to rest my Dawn. Okay. Nami is popping what? The blocker, sure. And you go 8k into the bodies on board, I think. I don't think there's a real point of... Okay, I was going to say, there was not really a point of them attacking me. It's probably better for them to clear board here, because we're going to go to 0 life next turn anyway. This is a lot of counter here, because Robin can also be attached to Rested Dawn. Yep. We'll have to Rad Beam this. I don't want to give too much counter out of hand. Or cards out of hand here. Because in that scenario, I'd have to get rid of 2 2Ks. I think the Rad Beam is a little bit more valuable. We get the Dragon here as well, which is good. I think we Dragon. We're going to attach him to Zoro here. That's fine. We'll go 7 lead. This is about to get crazy, isn't it? Yeah, this is about to get crazy. Attach here. So 7/7. Newgate swings for 7 and Dragon gets a swing for 9. That's 4 attacks in a turn. Which is pretty gross. Ooh, that hand. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Diving into another matchup, coming at you guys with Newgate, playing into Marshall D. Teach, in which I wish I would have seen a lot more teaches, especially at our local scene, but it feels like a lot of people are playing a little bit more aggressive decks when it comes to like Shanks and Doflamingo and Zoro. So I think if people were on Teach a lot more, Newgate could actually prosper here as well. Because I think I have some pretty good matchups into this deck list. We're going to kind of do similar things that a Straw Hat variant of Straw Hat variant of Shanks does. We kind of just drop the Luffy and just go face, face, face. It's a very, very similar playstyle. Because now we go 6 and Teach doesn't have a lot of 2Ks. I think they typically run about 8. Unless you're doing some off-meta 2Ks that you typically don't run in the build. So that would probably put you at 10. And being able to swing for 6 and 6 or 6 and 7 each and every turn. That's a lot of cards out of hand early game. Your boy is already on 2 life on turn 3. And he has a book. Don't get me wrong, he has a book. But we can trim that down very, very quickly before he gets the 10 Dawn. And a lot of his characters on board can't hit me because he likes to use a lot of resources for searches and playing cards down just to have bodies. Therefore, he can't swing on me. There's a Burgess. Plays Burgess down. Now he can't hit me. So that means we get to keep counter in hands and just coast for this game. Yep. So he black holed me, which doesn't really matter because we can play Zoro down and get the rush off, and now we're swinging again for 7/7/7. And he has to give me counter before he goes to 0. Because at that point, if he goes to 0 and he doesn't leader skill and we drop the Sanji, we just win the game. And at moments like this, I kind of want to tech in Diable Jambe, but I don't see a lot of teaches, I don't think, to make it matter. And we did draw the Sanji, which is pretty good. Yep, there's the black hole. Ooh, Devon is actually pretty spicy in this deck. I like the fact that they can change the trait to make Devon whatever whatever you need in the scenario. Gonna go 6 here. I kind of like the Zoro though, right? It's just another rush unit down for next turn unless we play Dragon. But I do want to keep the Shiraya blocker and of course our 2Ks. Now this, on the other hand, I do want to protect because I don't have anything in hand that I want to play down right now. And I'd rather him spend resources to try to remove the Zoro with like a Finger P or something of that nature. Okay. Probably blocker. Yep. Another blocker. Cool. 4 cards in hand, by the way. 3 cards in hand. Crazy. They had 11 like a previous turn, which is wild. 7 lead. Okay. I'll have to give you a 2K. Actually, no, we could take it. And I think they're gonna go ahead and use leader ability, which they already did, so Sanji's not gonna get any value here anyway. But we have the dragon. We can't use the dragon's ability. But let me go ahead and try to pressure. No, we have to play a body on board first, don't we? So I can't get the Rested Dawn with the Luffy, so we're gonna have to drop this down. Yeah, it sucks because we can't get the dragon's ability here. But at the same time, we'll still get a rush body on board. Yeah, we're going to drop this instead. Okay. So I think we can do 6, 6, and then 7, and then 9k with dragon here. This should eat the blocker, yep. I'm guessing 10 cost teach in hand now. My age, okay. We'll go 9. Why are we hesitating here? I see. Okay. I'm guessing they meant the block? They didn't have 10 cost each. They had 3k counter here. Oh, okay. The misclick, they didn't block. I mean, I really don't think it matters here. You know? Just because the amount of counter that we have in hand, they can't really push us for next turn anyway. And they don't have teach. Doesn't look like 10 cost teach is coming up in the next searches, so because they only get to peek at 3, but they draw 1, they peek. Actually, yeah, they could play 10 cost teach on board, but it still doesn't matter. Even though I have like 11k counter in hand, and we have another rusher, so unless they use leader skill next turn, either way, let's dive into another one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go again, diving into another matchup against Usopp here. And to touch back on what I was saying, the teach, for example, so they had a 10 cost teach coming up on the 4th card, at least what it looked like. So they would draw a card, they play they play the stage, they peek the teach, they play teach on board. Then the only 2 targets that could actually smack me that turn would be the Devon and the Burgess, which that's a 1k counter, and the Burgess a 2k counter. So with 1 blocker on board, they halt 1 body from attacking. And then we still have the Luffy and the Newgate to swing. So I think Ace is actually pretty good here in this matchup, isn't he? Just because Usopp can't remove it with the Kyros. Unless he attacks into it afterwards. Okay. I don't really like being this low this early, but what am I going to do? I think it's okay just because Usopp is a 4 life leader. And we have a lot of rush units, so let's go to minus the power here. So we definitely need to clear this. Get this off the board from drawing cards. We'll go 6 lead first. Okay. That's a 1-2k. Damage. Nice. Sure. Yeah, there's the Kyros. We'll go ahead and use the ability here. I know they can just attack into it, but it's better this way just because they have to focus on the ace instead of going for leader here. And now they'll rush the Kyros, sure. And then Usopp can't hit me. I think going 9k to the ace was probably the better call, and then going 6 with Usopp into lead would have been, you know, got more cards out of hand. But we'll go 7 lead here. 8. And then we'll save up the Dawn for the Radical Beam. Or maybe we won't. Wow, he's bricked up. That might have been one of the fastest games I've done so far. Outside of some matches with Yamato, but still, I felt bad a little bit. And sometimes it's kind of like that, especially against Usopp, when you see the aggro, you know? It's just a lot of cards out of hand in the early game. Ooh, this teach actually gets it. Plays blockers down early. That's smart. Maybe he mulliganed for blockers, or he just got lucky, but still. I think he knows that we're just going to play rush here. Go 6. That's a Kuzan, a Teach, and a Finger P. That's crazy. Don't take the hit. Okay, we get the 2k, which is nice. We go to 5 next turn, so we have access to Luffy here, which we can swing for 6 and 7. Stage comes down. That gets us another Searcher. I am okay with this. 4 cards in hand. Okay, Burgess. Okay. Another blocker, maybe? Well, I guess if they play one of those... Yeah, that's smart. Because they're to have one here on board. But I was just thinking, if they play another blocker down, they just lose out on getting cards out of my hand. Let's get down to Luffy. Do the thing. Swing 6, attach Dawn. Nice. Go 7. We're doing great. Let's go, boys. 6 here. 6 Dawn open. He needs to kill the Luffy if possible here. But then he doesn't develop bodies. So I mean, it could be a Tempest Kick into a... No, he doesn't have enough Dawn for that either. Tempest. Yeah, no, I think we're chilling. Because he can't pop this without getting something on board on the same turn. So that means Luffy should survive here. And then next turn we can go ahead and drop down more rush units. If he activates leader skill, we can't play Ace. So we'd have to drop the Zoros. And we can swing with them, which is nice. Because we can use Luffy's ability to give the rest of Dawn to Zoro. Go 7 here. Okay. I do want to counter here, though. I think the Sanji is a little bit more valuable because it's also a blocker. I doubt we're going to play it, but still. Alright, so Burgess is 7k. He used leader skill, so Ace doesn't get value here. We can drop down Zoro, though. And I don't necessarily have to attach all the Dawn here. But if we do, we can all go 7. That's what's up. I'll do it again. Attach Dawn. So 3 7k swings in a turn. We'll pass it over. He's close to 10 Dawn. He's almost there. But he's probably run out of blockers at this point. Unless this deck is also running Devon. Finger P. Interesting. I guess he had an opportunity of popping a character on board and he decided to throw that away for the stage effect. So that means he's going to play another character down here. Another search. Into a Kuzan. Okay. Plays another Beerges. Alright. It's a blocker down as well. It's the blocker that kind of worries me a little bit. There's 9k to Luffy. I think I do want to keep this on board. I think we have to keep this on board. So I have to give him another 2k counter. And then Blackbeard can swing 6k into something. Probably the Zoro if I had to get... Never mind. I need the Luffy, man. I'm sorry. Speaking of which, another Luffy. So we did it again, boys. Also, he didn't use leader skill this time. But math. Because if we play Luffy... No. We got to play Luffy down, don't we? 5. Plus Zoro. So we get Zoro here. We swing with Luffy. We attach the rest of Dawn to Zoro. Then we play down the other Luffy. Right? So that means we get 5 attacks in this turn. Which is kind of nutty. So there goes the blocker. Yep. Now we cheat out the Zoro again. Give him the Dawn. So now he can also swing. Which is crazy. Well played. That's nice, man. That's really, really good. You know, thankfully we were able to take first from Smoker here. Which I think will probably hurt him a lot more than, than me. Especially when he wants to drop Smoker on curve. I mean, we do have the Divine Departure for it. I mean, him going second also stops him from dropping Tashigi on 3 Dawn, and then following into Smoker, which is nice. I think, so far with this matchup, going first, I've always wanted to do, which is nice. Giving him first kind of just hurts me a little bit, especially if I don't have the removal for the Smoker, and he's able to get off a banish on my face. It's not great. It's not looking pretty. Speaking of which, got an early game blocker down, which is nice. 2 Don up. That's 7 right now. I don't necessarily mind in this matchup. I just have to be worried about Kid. And we have the Divine Departure to answer it. I also have to be paying attention to Tashigi mainly. But as long as I can stack rushers on the board early, we should be able to just filter out cards from his hand. Maybe not. I'm glad we got the ace off that draw, though. It's pretty good. Because we didn't really have a play here outside of dropping like Sanji down for a blocker. Alright, there's 1 2K. Alright, we'll take that blocker, that's fine. Yep. 4 cards left. And then perhaps Ace will get a damage in. Unless he wants to give me a 2K off this, which I doubt it. And I don't think he'd give me both Rosinantes this early. That was 3 swings, by the way. Turn 3. Crazy. It's kind of like we're playing Zoro a little bit, you know? Except for we don't have weenie attackers, which is a little unfair, but it's okay. So now he's on 6. He could perhaps have Smoker here still. And then they would restand 3 Dawn. Okay, so there's the Zashigi. Okay, he attaches. That's good. So no Smoker this turn. So that's another 7K coming in my face. If he plays like another blocker here, like a Sanji blocker or what have you, he doesn't have Dawn to swing with leader. So I'll take that. Rosinante instead. That's his 3rd one. 3rd Rosinante, no Kid right now. So as long as we can clear those off board before Kid hits the board, we should be looking pretty good. I think Kid's a little challenging to deal with, especially when he has Tashigi already. We can't really Divine Departure it. We have to attack into it. We do have the Ace, which makes it a little easier, but having double Rosinante makes that a bit of a challenge. Okay. I don't know why he didn't go 8K lead and go 6 into that with his leader instead. Because that way he could have pressured hand, or at least got a damage in. That's fine. He didn't remove it with an effect, so he attacked into it directly, so we can't use his Ace's ability. Which I could have. And I probably should have, actually. I should have probably countered out, but it's okay. I think we can get there without it. Let's go ahead and pressure here. Yeah, we probably should have saved that the Ace. That's my bad. That might be what cost us the game too, who knows. I'll take that. We have a ridiculous amount of counter in hand, so I can be aggressive here too. Let's kill the Sanji. Yeah, he gets to draw a card. That's fine. Come on. Just take it. He goes to 8 next turn as well. And we have a whole book. 12K counter. 1 Divine Departure up. I'd imagine maybe he drops Ace here. Or not Ace, sorry. Kid. But then he couldn't attack with lead. Smoker this late. Crazy. 4 Dawn. Okay. 6 Dawn. What else do you do? Okay, blocker Sanji. 2 Dawn up, so leader can swing for 6. And that's it. Which is kind of nice. I'm glad we got rid of those Rosinantes early too, man. Doesn't swing at all. Leaves 2 Dawn up. So he does have the event in hand then. Let's go ahead and fish that out real quick. Because this will force the 2K counter or the event. And if he wants to minus the Zoro here, that's fine. I don't mind just attaching Dawn to him. Because we don't need to keep up the Radical Beams here or the Divine Departure. With 12K counter, you know what I mean? We definitely don't need it. Let's go ahead and throw down the Ace, actually. We're gonna minus this here and I guess Smoker, I suppose. And then we can swing 7. So he gave us the event, right? For the 6K swing. This should be guaranteed then. Unless he's pitching his whole hand. which I don't think he wants to do. Okay, so there's the blocker. Yeah, I guess it's okay. I don't need the rad beams right now. Let's go 5. See if we can get another card out of hand. Because next turn he's only going to be attacking me with Leader and Smoker and perhaps maybe a Rush Luffy if he has it. And with 12k, I think we're chilling. Speaking of Rush Luffy, I'll take that. A little late though, I haven't seen him all game actually. Haven't felt the need for him, but it would have been nice. I think we could probably put this game away a little bit earlier. Because I think this turn we could have probably dropped the Luffy if we had it instead of the Ace, and then we got off 2 bigger attacks. But I don't think that would have mattered either, because he gave us the Rosie anyway. So perhaps he would have just given us the Sanji or the life for free. So maybe Ace was okay. He does have to try to go for game soon, because next turn he won't survive with 1 blocker up. And we do have the 2-cost Sanji in hand to make Zoro unblockable, or make Luffy unblockable. And it doesn't necessarily matter if he does damage to me here, because again, we're going to draw that life anyway. Unless it's with Smoker, right? We have to block this out, because we want the card instead of it being banished. Maybe he's contemplating on Hoodie Jones here. Okay, so the fish hits the board. Yep. Rips the life. And he gets to restand 3 Dawn. I don't think this was the correct play. But I don't know what else he has. He's definitely going to go for game. If possible. It just seems a little weird. 9, okay, never mind. 9 into Ace. I'll guard out, of course. We need this. I want to keep at least 1 2-cost Sanji in hand. Just in case he has like Dawn for this turn for events. Because I don't see him swinging with the blocker. I think he has to swing only with Leader and the 5-cost Smoker on board. He plays a 2k down. Why wouldn't he have done that originally? 7 to 5, I'll counter out here as well. Unless he just assumed that he was going to be able to clear it with the 9 into the 7. And maybe that's why. But considering he's going to either lose or win next turn, if he wants to clear the Ace, it would probably been better for him to drop the Otama originally. Let's go. Yep. And we'll keep the 2k in hand. 2 Dawn open, so he does have Dawn for the event. And this is where you pass, right? Or is he contemplating on swinging with the Tashigi? I think we would have to give him the 2k counter. Just because it's, you know, 3 bodies on board. Plus the 5k Luffy, or sorry, the 5-drop Luffy. Yeah, we'll counter out. He's only got 2 cards in hand here, so we should be fine without having the Sanji. Nice. Double Divine Departure, Radical Beam, and a blocker here. Which is really, really good. So technically we can drop the Luffy and the blocker and then have up for 2 events. Even if this one doesn't go well. But let's pop this blocker instead. This might be a little overkill, but we can just get it out of the way. And then as long as he doesn't get any like event from trash to pop my characters here, we should be chilling. Or what's that card called? Red Hawk, I guess that could be a thing. Well played, man. GG. I will probably play one more game after this one, and we'll dive back into the deck list. Sorry if it seems like a short video. For whatever reason, again, we're playing aggro, so we are smashing out games relatively quickly, so I do hope you guys are going to enjoy it no matter what. Outside of that, we will be diving into Boa next, probably. And then I want to cook up, showcase some Yamato, and then some Dofi Birdcage. Again, Dofi Birdcage will be off meta, but you know what I mean. Just other things that people are very much interested in will be coming this month following Boa. At the very least, I will at least try to get into Yamato or, wow, I just blanked. Yamato or Dofi Birdcage. One of those two will come up here very, very soon. After Boa. In any case, we're going to dive into another game. Come at you guys with Whitebeard playing into Shanks today. which is just about everyone's worst nightmare, it seems, in the card game right now. I particularly think Newgate has a good matchup into this, unless Shanks is able to see a lot of early game blockers. So the Sanjis, the Ruse. If Shanks can get an opening hand of that, or knows to search for those, or the Silver Rayleighs in the early game, it can be very, very challenging for Newgate, because they are able to eat up a lot of attacks in the early game, which hurt me, right? He's able to out-sustain me due to the fact that I wasn't able to deal damage and I'm losing life, so it looks like this variant of Shanks is going to be more aggressive, which is nice. So I'm assuming the 5-drop Luffy, the 3-cost Zoro as we see here, and perhaps Dragon? Right? I think Dragon would be the other one. Yeah, of course. Of course Dragon's in this deck. There's a Beckman. We'll go 6 here, just to get that out of the way. And we'll go 7 lead. So we got another 6, 6, 7, which is nice. 1 damage in, got to clear his board. I would probably clear Sanji here, if possible. Yep, I'll take that. Thank you. Please clear Zoro. Good. Fair. Man, this is a lot of counter from hand, actually. But I kind of have to do this, don't we? Give him the 2k. We'll give him the ace. Another Sanji 2k, which is good. I think we'll have a better chance of just running into the Luffy to get cards out of hand, but this is just easy peasy. Might as well just do it this way. We still get 2 attacks off this turn, which is nice. Which isn't too bad, right? So we can go 6 and then go 6 with Newgate. Leave up the Dawn for a Radical Beam. I'm guessing he's going to take the Newgate swing. Unless he has another 2k. Nice. Okay. I'm not really worried about him putting me to 0 here. I'd rather protect the Zoro if possible. Once we go to 0, it really doesn't. There's nothing else I can do if he drops Gold Roger regardless. So there's no point of protecting this turn. Maybe a Beckman. Okay, rush Luffy. Go in 9k. Let's drop the Rad Beam. I don't think we can win this turn. Oh, actually, we can do some serious damage though, really. 5. That gives me an extra... Yeah, it gives me an extra 3 for 1 blocker. Nami Search, perhaps. 5 in hand here. I'm thinking about going a little bit heavier. I don't think it's necessary. If we go to the Luffy here, he has to go ahead and minus me, and then give me a 1k counter. So there's another blocker out of hand. We'll do it again. So that's gone. We'll double up. We'll do the Nami thing. Hopefully find a 2k counter. That works. I mean, we found 3 2ks there, but still. So now we have Shiryu on board, which is really, really good in this matchup. Because he likes to play a lot of big bodies. You know, the 10-cost Shanks, the Dragon. It's very easy to guard him with this and just pitch 1k and have a body for the following turn that we can just attach Dawn to and swing face if need be. Okay, so 1's dead. I'm sorry if you guys can hear children outside screaming. It's normal. You know, they're outside playing, you know, sometimes they do that. There's 7 here. I need to counter out of here, don't I? Because I want to keep this on board. Okay. There's an ace. I think now in this scenario we just drop double Luffy and call it day. Let's attach this to Zoro. That way Zoro can swing as well. Oh wait, that's my mistake. So he can just minus that, can he? Yep. That's fair. It's okay, it's fine. But now Zoro can't swing, so that does kind of suck. I do need to keep the blocker up, so I can't swing with that. We'll do this. Then we'll drop a Sanji down. Or a Chopper, sorry. And then keep the Dawn up for Radical Beam. So now I have 2 blockers on board again. And thankfully Zoro didn't attack. That way now we can not have to worry about him killing it. If he did, we just drop the Luffy, right? So there's Dragon. And speaking of Dragon, Sharias should get a lot of value out of this one. Oof. I don't really think it matters here, right? Because he could go just 11k with Dragon, and then 7 with Shanks. And I think we just block, and then keep the 2k in hand for now. Yes, we lose the blocker, but still. I think this is what we have to do. We can give him the 2k and keep it on board, and that kind of just like defeats the purpose, because then it's easier for him to take me out. So it looks like Shanks is going to swing for 9k. So we'll block here. We have the rest of the counter in hand. We'll go ahead and Rad Beam. And that should be game, maybe. Definitely have to drop the Luffy here. Yep. Well played, buddy. Good job. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the last matchup of the day. Coming at you guys with Newgate playing into Usopp. After this one, like I mentioned previously, we're going to dive into some Boa games. Interesting. Nami here. 6 in hands. Let's go ahead and attack into this. Get this off the board. Let's pass it over. Yeah, we're going to do some Boa next, and then I want to put out another poll whether or not to do Doflamingo or Yamato. Birdcage Dofi. And we'll probably do both of those two, but you know, just want to see where the audience is, you know? Outside of that, Newgate today has been nothing but phenomenal. Sometimes when I dive back into older leaders and I can get a vibe or a feel where or how they do in the current metagame, it makes me just want to take them back and play them again. They're just so much fun, especially when you just see the same exact decks all over the place. I know I play Bonnie a lot, but it's one of those, you see Bonnie, Doflamingo, Lucci, Dofi, or sorry, I said Dofi, Shanks. It's just the same stuff. So being able to see like off meta leaders, whether it's on sim or at local play, is just, it's very, very cool to see. Let's go ahead and then do Sanji here, actually. I want to force this guy to just give me life for free. Attach the Dawn here. Yeah, we have to play Sanji first. We'll give Luffy the unblockable. And then we'll also swing in with Newgate here. This will be 7, which is great. Another 7. I think one of the cool things about this deck right now is we play aggro. So, being able to draw off life plus your regular deck, you have multiple different opportunities of gaining, you know, the Zoro and or the Luffy. And if you're able to get the Zoro into the Luffy, it's basically you get a body for free on board, which is kind of nice. Oh wow, okay, I like this. So that gets popped. Yep. 7 here. Can't have that. Nice. 7 in hand. Might as well just keep it going. I'm not hurting anything by doing this. Ooh, actually. You know what? We made a misplay. That's my bad. Because we could have just played the Luffy down, and then played the Zoro, and then swung with both Luffys to give the Zoro the rest of Dawn to have another body on board to swing. So I think in this situation, it's probably better for us just to attach the Dawn to the Sanji and swing for 6. Yeah, we can get the blocker, but who's to say that he doesn't have a bouncer in hand? And I think this way just guarantees another damage or a card out of hand here. And we have the Radical Beam, just in case, you know? Yeah, let's not do that. Let's go ahead and swing. Let's swing instead. I think this is more beneficial for us. If we can put him on 0, this would be even better. Go ahead, give me a 2k. 5 here in hand, too. He has to. Because he can't risk going to 0, knowing that we run the Sanji. Okay, got a Frankie and a Solomon. Sure. So you have the Kyros. Trash 2 draw. So there's Rebecca. If he has the Kyros, he can bounce Luffy to hands and then run into the other Luffy with the Kyros on board. Okay. Why didn't he bounce? Interesting. I'm going to assume that was a misplay, maybe? Because there's no way he doesn't bounce here, right? Or does it matter? Maybe it doesn't matter because he wanted to clear the bodies instead of bouncing it. So perhaps that was his play. So we got Luffy down. Or not Luffy, Zoro down. We'll attach the Dawn. It's 4, 6. We'll do it again. We'll play another Zoro. Double tap Dawn. So 6, 6, 7, 7, 6. That's so wild sometimes. Good game, man. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the end of the video, in which today we played around with Newgate, in which I had a lot of fun, as I typically would. I do hope you guys enjoyed this one, considering this is something we don't typically do here on the channel. It's been a long time since we featured Newgate here. But, with that being said, we got to showcase this deck do tremendously well today. I actually had a lot of games today go like that, and there haven't been too many games today that I played that didn't go well for me. Out of the ones that we did play, I think we played 8 games today, and we only lost 1 to an Usopp. He was just able to chain, he went first and he was just able to chain the Kyroses on top of the Kyroses. But outside of that, that was pretty much it. I think Newgate really did well. And I think he's pretty strong in the current metagame with the access to having so many rush units. The downside to him, I mean, Shanks is all over the place, and Shanks can be a very hard matchup into Newgate due to the fact of how many blockers that he can run, being Lucky Roo, and of course Silver's Rayleigh, the 5-cost blocker. I think the deck itself is just really good, but I think Newgate can crack out wins if you guys see all of the rush characters that you actually need on curve, and you're able to just poke face instead of having to get blocked each and every turn. That's a problem. Seeing Rue going like 7k with Zoro, and then they guard out, and you clear the body, but they also clear the Zoro, and sometimes you might not have the Luffy for the following turn, and if you do, if your opponent decides to pop this, you play the Luffy, and then they drop the Beckman, it feels pretty bad. You know what I mean? Those are just situations in which you gotta think about when you're playing the Newgate into that matchup. I do think it's winnable. Definitely winnable. That does feel good, depending on what you guys see in the early game. I do think the 3-cost blocker is very good, and a lot of people probably aren't ready for this, because this card really didn't see a whole lot of play outside of the OG Law, which I miss so much. Even though I didn't play this deck, it was just nice to see something a little bit different than the current metagame. But this is really where this card took off, right, in that deck list. Now, in Newgate, he has used it, you know, time and time again. Just, we don't see Newgate that often to really get a feel with how this card is, how good this card is. But I think as a blocker right now in the metagame, he's actually low-key pretty strong. Now, Zoro, I don't see this being run in a lot of red decks right now. And I think there aren't very many red decks that can actually utilize this as much as you'd like to outside of in Smoker. Being able to just set up the Dawn per turn and attach to this for free is really good. But in Newgate, as you guys saw, we're able to have so many cards in hand just to guard life and let this go when you want to, outside of, you know, removal. But being able to get another body on board to cheat that out and then smack again next turn is really good. I think Zoro is a key piece to this list, and just being able to get over Blackbeard when he activates his leader ability. You know, he turns off your rush from your ace and some of your other characters. Is really, really good. But overall, I had a lot of fun today. I do hope you guys enjoyed this one. Remember to smash the like button as you typically do. Or I hope you would, right? If not, why are you watching my content? If you don't like my videos, you know, come on, make it make sense. Outside of that, we do have store championships at Gaming Giant here on Sunday. I am on the wait list, but I am hoping to get into it. And then we have sign-ups for Treasure Cups very, very soon. I believe that's tomorrow they start, I think. I could be wrong, but I'm going to have to double check into that. Either way, I will catch you guys in the next one. Good luck at your championships. Good luck at your Treasure Cups. I will catch you guys later. Stay safe out there.